Right in front of you, you are going to see the NFL's Week 13 schedule as well as my predictions for who's going to win this particular week's games. Now, a lot of people might say, oh, why aren't you covering politics? Shut up. Second of all, a lot of people are complaining about the fact that, oh, the Cardinals were on bye. Oh, they're not that good. Oh, they got destroyed by the Panthers. Shut up. We're going to be talking about the Cardinals, and we're going to gas them up like normal. A lot of people are going to hate. They can still hate. They're gay. Now, the first game we're going to be predicting is honestly going to be the Cardinals versus the Bears. The Chicago Bears have honestly just been not so good. They have not been good in a long time. They're worse than the Browns. This is very true. That, worst team in the Midwest besides the Lions, of course. Don't forget the Lions. They suck. Anyways, the Cardinals are the best team right now. They're the number one seed in the NFC. They are virtually guaranteed to get in the playoffs. They're at week 13 already surpassing their 2019 or 2020 average. What do I mean by this? What I mean is that in 2020, I believe we scored 8-8. Okay, so 8 wins, 8 losses. With that being said, there's a 500 record there. We are at a very high record. We have 9 wins and 2 losses, and you can chalk up the 2 losses to flukes. We lost by 1 score after we lost a touchdown by penalty. So we should have, if anything, barely won that game against the Packers. And inclusively, I would also want to mention that Cam Newton had the fluke comeback of the year where he beat all the bench warmers on the Cardinals by a lot. But then he proceeded to get his ass kicked in by, let me see, the fucking Miami Dolphins. You have the Washington football team, also known as the Redskins. I still call them the Redskins. It's reasonable. And ultimately, they're simply not that good. But, okay, nevertheless, Cardinals are going to win. What is the exact point? Like people say, oh, this is the spread. I don't give a shit. Who cares? Oh, they're going to win by 10. What? Who cares about the points? That's like saying, well, I think that Donald Trump is going to win the state of Minnesota by 2.5. Yes, I care about that because I'm a nerd, but like everybody else doesn't. So if you're a football nerd and be like, oh, what do you think the spread's going to be? I don't even know how that works. I've never bet on this in my life. Okay, so calm down. Colts versus Texans. Texans have been terrible. They have a lot of journeymen. They have a lot of mediocre, older players, and the younger ones are not showing any promise. Tyrod Taylor is probably the best player on the team, and he's nothing special in my opinion. At least he cannot carry the team to a win to save his life, apparently. But ultimately, the Texans are still better than the Lions. Keep that in mind. And they also did upset the backbenchers of the Titans. Okay, he pulled a Cam Newton, you could say. The Colts have been playing better than they usually are as of the last couple games, but ultimately they did still lose to the Buccaneers. No thanks to the penalties always going in Brady's favor because of course they do. But yeah, they beat the Bills by a decent margin, which is a good sign. They also beat they lost to the Buccaneers by 1 touchdown. So with that being said, I honestly think that you ought to be in a position where the Colts are going to win every time against the Texans, and if they lose, that would be very embarrassing. But Jonathan Taylor is a really good runner. I think that they're going to stomp them, passing or run-wise. Anyways, we have the formerly San Diego Chargers, but now they're being called the LA Chargers. They basically will probably lose to the Bengals. The Bengals have been getting better over time with the offensive line giving Burrow a lot of time. The pocket is not closing in too quickly. He's able to really overperform the average quarterback in this case. He is definitely better than Derek Carr, in my opinion. I think that the Bengals, with their 7-4 track record, should be able to beat the Chargers by maybe 1 or 2 scores. It'll be kind of close, but who fucking cares? Anyways, Herbert has a stupid name. That's why I will give the Bengals the win. They're going to be 8-4. This game is somewhat important for the playoff probabilities for either team because they're both in contention for that. And the Colts are in contention for the playoffs as well, barely. But again, against the Texans, it's like not a big deal. The Vikings versus the Lions. So 2 Midwestern teams, in my opinion. The Vikings are going to win every day. Now, are the Vikings overrated? Yeah. Are the Vikings very average? Yes. But they do have an above average quarterback, and since it is not the playoff season yet, I don't think he's gonna choke this game. And by him, I mean Kirk Cousins. I believe the Lions are awful up and down the roster. The best thing they have on the team is Jared Goff, and Jared Goff has peaked as of 3 years ago, and they should have just kept Stafford, in my opinion. Also, keep in mind that none of these people that are good at offensive tackles or anything like that, P. Sewell and all these other people, they're not going to save the Lions. Okay, the Lions are going to get crushed by the Vikings. Sad but true. They're going to their, what would it be in this case, like 11th loss of the season, maybe. Anyways, the point is that the Vikings are going to get lobbed and easy. They're going to get a bone thrown at them by the NFL so they can make the wild card round, which is okay, I guess. Next point is New Jersey Giants versus, is it New York Giants or New Jersey? I don't care. Point is, they're going to be playing the Dolphins. Okay, now the Dolphins are substantially better than the shitty team, the Giants. The Giants probably got one upset win against maybe the Bills at some point earlier on in history this year. But ultimately, the Dolphins have been getting better. Their quarterback is getting better as well. Tua, I believe is his name. Stupid name, I know. He's been picking it up lately. And with that being said, they have some potential in there. I saw them play the Baltimore Ravens where they did the same blitz formation 2 out of 3 plays. Defensively speaking, 30 times, and it worked really well. So, I mean, if they're really just playing with a playbook, they ought to be able to confuse the Giants, and that ought to give them an external factor of them winning. So, the Dolphins are on track for a positive win record, which is good for them, and the Giants are getting shit on yet again. No Eli Manning, no wins. Anyways, Eagles versus Jets. Eagles have been shitting the bed recently. They're going to make the playoffs by the grace of God, tops. I mean, seriously, they're completely pathetic. I do not sympathize with them at all. They were 3 years ago Super Bowl champions over the Patriots, I believe. Now they're not doing squat. They lost a lot of their good players. I'm not sure if Deshaun Jackson is back on the team, but he was very integral to their offensive plays. I also think that Jalen Hurts is a very inconsistent quarterback, and it's not something you can really value on. And there's not that many people on the Eagles that I can even name as players. So with that being said, I think that they're going to beat the Jets, but only because the Jets are fucking awful and, a bottom 5 team, undebatably. Next team that is going to win a game is going to be the Buccaneers with Tom Brady versus the Falcons with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has been playing just fucking terribly this year. He's been super inconsistent. Probably the most inconsistent good quarterback of the year so far. He has been losing tons of games. He got eviscerated by the by the Dallas Cowboys. They got over 40 points on his defensive, which is pathetic. And then also consider that the Falcons got their ass whooped as well by the Patriots. They got beat by over 20 points. Another embarrassing show for the Falcons. So overall, the Buccaneers should have no problem beating the Falcons. Now, there is, a very small chance that, Matt Ryan somehow gets better. Maybe Tom Brady gets cleated in the hand, okay, and maybe that fucks up his throwing arm. But overall, I see the Buccaneers winning. Next would be the Jaguars. The Jaguars versus the LA Rams. Now, the LA Rams should have no problem beating Trevor Lawrence. His receivers can't catch a ball if it hit him in the face. They just cannot. They just don't play well. The Jacksonville Jaguars, it's over. They should be kicked out of the NFL. I don't see why they're even on the roster. I think they're clogging up a spot in the NFL. We have 32 teams. I want an odd number maybe. We can get rid of the Jaguars. We can get rid of, the Texans. They're redundant in Texas. Anyways, the LA Rams should have short work of the Jaguars. Now, we'll see how Odell Beckham Jr. Is seen as overrated still. Maybe he'll get a Hail Mary catch. Why would I even mention this? The point is that this game overall is pretty boring. LA Rams should easily kick their ass. You can see the importance scale right here. Quality low, importance low, overall low. Yeah, exactly. This is very, very good point. Next game. Okay, it's going to be the so-called Washington team, also known as the Redskins, versus the Raiders. The Raiders are an average team at best. You'll see people that simp for these guys like John Gruden, who got disgraced unfairly by the media. You'll have Ice Cube, who is overrated as well in terms of his simping for the Raiders. The Raiders have been somewhat inconsistent this year. They were doing pretty well towards the beginning. They had 5 wins and 2 losses maybe, but they've just been losing most games at this point. They just barely beat the Cowboys by a fluke. That was bullshit through penalties. They also got eviscerated by the Chiefs. So clearly they're not GOAT status at all. They're not even close to a top 10 team. I would say the Raiders are down in the middle. Washington is probably a below average team, but they've been punching above their weight class for a while. They beat the Panthers with the so-called like, oh, I'm back, I'm Cam Newton. It's like, shut the fuck up, faggot. And then you have them beating uh, the Seahawks with Russell Wilson, like handily as well. Like it was a decent one, decent. It was mid. So given that fact, I would see the trajectory for the Washington team to be better off. The Ravens versus the Steelers. Well, I would say that the Ravens would beat the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger has been getting sacked every day of the week as of recently this year. So he's definitely past the prime of his career. And I think Lamar Jackson is a way better quarterback at this rate of, both of their careers. 10 years ago, yeah, obviously Roethlisberger was good. But, Roethlisberger has been catching L's as of the last decade, whether that be the bathroom incident, whether that be getting sacked like several times against the Chargers, I believe. Just overall, it's kind of embarrassing for Ben. So I think the Ravens will handily beat the Steelers. But I've seen some differing opinions on this. I don't care about other people's opinions too much because, again, this is all about my amusement. The Seahawks versus the 49ers. I think the Seahawks will edge out the 49ers, believe it or not. I say this because Russell Wilson is going to get better over the time of the season because of his hand recovering from whatever the hell happened to it. With he got surgery on his throwing arm, which is silly. But keep in mind, the 49ers have been mostly good because they have an above-average quarterback in Garoppolo, as well as they have Deebo Samuel completing more of the offensive plays than you'd expect out of his position. But without Deebo Samuel playing this week on Week 13 against the Seahawks, their offensive is going to get fucked. And so if it's going to be a Russell Wilson offensive against a neutered offensive from the 49ers, then we're going to have a domination of the Seahawks over the 49ers, assuming the Seahawks do not shit the bed and the defense, so we'll keep this in mind. I think the Seahawks will be the favorites. So that's my first prediction that's against the ELO score or whatever. Who cares? Anyways, the 49ers, ironically, are the ones that are in the playoff contention, not the Seahawks. Seahawks have, when they lost to the Redskins, it was pretty much over last week. Broncos versus Chiefs. The Broncos have virtually no chance. They had one game where they upset the Cowboys by a lot, but besides that, not a big deal. Chiefs obviously have debatably the best quarterback in the league right now in Mahomes. I disagree, but whatever. Mahomes definitely is top 5. I'm not gonna lie, and the Chiefs have been getting better offensive wise. I will give them that. So, given that, unless they completely, maybe like Mahomes like breaks his leg or something, the Broncos will definitely lose. The last game I'm going to be talking about in this case will be Week 13's final game right here. On Monday, December 6th, we will see the Patriots go against the Bills. Now, people say, oh, the Bills are better off historically, Josh Allen better than Mac Jones. That may be true, but ultimately, the coach is better with the Patriots, Bill Belichick, obviously, and given both teams' trajectories, I would give the game to the Patriots despite them being negative 12 in the betting odds or the win probability here in 538. I really do think that the Patriots are on the upswing, whereas the Bills are not really. And I think the Bills overall just have more problems just in the general culture of the team compared to the Patriots. Given that fact, I will give the Patriots the win. I also want to be a little bit contrarian against the probabilities of the website. So I will say this as my prediction, okay? So I'm going to quickly fill out this thing right here. Okay, so we're going to go on 538. We're going to look at the standings, and we're going to fill out the first week. So as you can see here, we already have Super Bowl probabilities, right? One key factor to point out is that the Patriots have a 10% chance of winning the Super Bowl as of right now, whereas the Bills have an 8. But we'll see once we fill this out. So the Cardinals are going to beat the Chicago Bears easily. Falcons will get eviscerated by the Buccaneers under Tom Brady, who's an overrated quarterback, but not overrated to the point where he'll lose to Matt Ryan's inconsistent ass. Another thing we're going to be talking about is whether or not the Bills and Patriots will win this game. I think the Patriots will edge it out narrowly. There you go. Denver will get their asses kicked by the Chiefs. Pittsburgh will get beat handily by the Ravens. Chargers will lose to the Bengals. Okay. LA Rams are going to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars easily. I think the Houston Texans will get eviscerated by the Colts, of course. I think the 49ers will beat the Seahawks. No, wait, actually, never mind. I was going to have the Seahawks win that one. The Detroit Lions will get their asses kicked by the Vikings, of course. The Who did I have? Oh yeah, I had Washington. I had the Redskins beating the Raiders. That is true. I had the Giants losing to the Dolphins. I had the Eagles beating the Giants or the Jets. I had the San Francisco team losing to the Seahawks as well. So that is the Week 13 predictions right there. If you pay attention to what I've been filling out, though, you'll see right now that the Packers and the Cardinals are tied for the highest chance of winning the Super Bowl. But of course, these fags at 538 put the Packers above the Cardinals, despite the Cardinals having a 10-2 record at the end of Week 13 versus the Packers at 9-3. Also, keep in mind that they're both at 15%, so they're both the same. And plus, on the first round bye is more likely to go to the Cardinals. Given that fact, it would be more obvious for the Cardinals to be on top of the Packers. But because of this ELO score, they're holding back my nigga Kyler Murray. Okay, so keep that in your noggin. Now we'll see here. So Packers 15% chance of winning the Super Bowl as of Week 13. The Cardinals at 15, Bucks at 13, Patriots, believe it or not, at 15. Tom Brady on suicide watch, of course. Chiefs at 10, Bills at 3, Ravens at 9. Titans at 4, Cowboys at 4, Bengals at 3, Rams at 2, Colts at 2, 49ers at 1, Detroit Lions at 0, of course. We'd love to see it. Seahawks 0.1%. They're fucking done. Teams that are still at the end of Week 13, these are the people that can make the playoffs. Okay, so we have obviously the Packers, the Cardinals, the Buccaneers, the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the Titans, the Cowboys, the Bengals, the Rams, the Colts, and the Vikings. They're almost all going to make the playoffs, almost definitely. Then we have people that are in contention, which are going to be the Saints, the Eagles, the Redskins, and maybe the Chargers, and that's about it. Also, keep in mind, yes, the Bills have a lower chance of winning the Super Bowl, but if you look, the Patriots have a harder they have a lot more clutch games to play, and they have a tough roster going up. They have the Indianapolis Colts. They have the Buffalo Bills again, and overall have 2 more rough games here in the last 4 weeks. So, yes, the Patriots have a higher chance of winning the Super Bowl than the Bills, in my opinion, but the Bills have to win less difficult games going forward. Besides the one against Tampa Bay, that's going to be shitty. But yes, so far for Cam Newton, the Panthers are 5-7, 5% chance of making the playoffs. We love to see it. Fuck the Panthers. Fuck Cam Newton. You overrated, braggadocious little faggot. Honestly. Oh, I'm back. Yeah, back to the bench, bitch. Get destroyed, bro. This is Murray season. Air raid offense. Air raid offense. Just shitting on the Chicago Bears. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to have DeAndre. We're going to have D-Hop back. We're going to have Kyler back. We're going to have Christian Kirk on the field. We're going to have all these based people, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be a beautiful thing when the Cardinals win their 10th game and, almost in a row. So, again, we love to see it. Yes, so that's going to be my power rankings sort of for the 2021 Week 13 NFL week. I also think that this is obviously going to be my predictions for Week 13 as well. I don't have a script, as you can see. I've only started following the NFL since right now, well, as of September, so keep that in mind. So I'm kind of rambling on and on, but this is my prediction. I think that most of these will hold up. I could be wrong about up to 3 of the how many games are in the schedule? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 games. I'll probably get 2 of these wrong, 3 maybe. So I'll have over 80% accuracy in my opinion. Anyways, just to quickly cover this game with the Cowboys and the Saints that I didn't talk about earlier. I did predict the Cowboys were going to win, not to be a bandwagoner, but obviously the Cowboys have a way better quarterback than whatever the fuck the Saints have. They don't even have their starter anymore. The Saints without Drew Brees are just lost in the woods right now. Not to say that they'd be doing much better with Drew Brees, because obviously Drew is in his 40s at this point. So yeah. Also, fuck Eminem for shitting on Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a Patriot. Okay, stop hating, bro. Come on. So, yes, that is the final video. Comment down below who you think is going to win the Super Bowl as of this week, because I think it's going to be the Cardinals. But again, I'm biased. I'm from Arizona. First time that they've been this good since I was in the kindergarten. maybe, or maybe even in preschool. That was 2008 or 9. So, yes. Anyways, I'm gone. Bye.